everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I was wanting to come here and talk to you about, there's a lot of people down in Asheville, North Carolina and places like that where them hurricanes come through, lost everything. And man, I'm glad people has poured out, donations, stuff to them the way they have. But if you thought about this, if you had lived there and you had all your preps there, that'd be gone too. Everything. And I give out a lot of thought. Where I live, I'm going to tell you it'd be something really bad to ever get to where I live. But I decided that, just in case, I went and got a metal ammo box. I think it's about 3 feet tall. It's about 1.5 feet thick, about 2 feet wide. I took and where it seals, when it clicks down, it seals. I went ahead and put me some extra clothes in there, shirts. I put some jogging breeches in there, socks, underwear, and stuff like that. Even a hat, because I think I can do better outside walking around without my breeches than I could my hat. But I put some stuff like that in there, and I actually put some of my pullover sweatshirts in there because, if you get cold, if it did happen, like right now where it's getting cold at night, sweatshirt be pretty nice. And I even put a blanket roll in it. Well, it's a fuzzy blanket. Put that down in there, and that's all it would hold. I sealed it up, and I went up here beside a tree and I buried it. Because, if everything gets washed away or whatever, where it's underground and it's sealed in that container, it would be safe. It would just be a matter of getting to it. I've also, over the last couple of years, buried 5-gallon buckets, in trash bags with trash bags in them. We talked about, the prepper buckets, hiding your prepper buckets and your stashes. And, it'd be nice if all this went down and you had all that to, kind of fall back on. Gas and stuff like that. It's hard to keep that, but now you could take some propane. And if you had like I'm gonna build a dairy back in my bank, it's gonna be 12 foot by 12 foot, and that's a place that I'll store all my canned goods. And like my dairy may have my propane in it for a while until I figure out. I'm thinking about building about a 4x4. See how big, I need to see how big my propane cans is, or about 15-pound tanks what I have, and I use it for that little cook stove is all I use it for. And if a man had that where you had it in a concreted or a block, then pour it full of concrete, and put a good lid on it so it couldn't get washed out. Even if you had to dig it out, it would still be there and be safe. But pay extra attention to where you put your preps and don't put them all in one place. That's something I've decided, I'm not going to do, because, these places got devastated. And, you might have them washed away. You may have part of them, get washed out and stuff like that. But, you don't want to lose everything that you've used for preps. I'm going to make sure that when the door it goes on my dairy, when you lock it, it's sealed. That it would do its very best to try to keep water out of it. And I'm also I've been calling this a smokehouse, and that's not what it's going to be. I've changed my mind on the design of that. I'm going to make that a curing house, where you take salt meat, put sugar cure and stuff on it, and let it sit there on a bench. I'm going to put a 8-foot overhang off of it as a place to put lawnmowers and stuff. And then I'm going to build a 8-foot by 8-foot smokehouse out of cinder blocks, concrete, and then there'll be a pipe so big go from the smoker up to the smokehouse, and I want it big enough I can put a door on it. I want it big enough that I can get in there to it, but I want it, kind of made, let's say 2 block high, and then I'm gonna put that trim or what do you call it, flashing around it, so bugs and mice and stuff like that can't get in there. And I'm gonna try to make my very best effort to make sure that nothing will get in that smokehouse. I've designed it. It's just, getting the money together. And like my truck tearing up, you have setbacks. You just got to go one day at a time, keep pushing on with your preps. Another thing I noticed is, we was just 24 hours without power. And I traded my generator and I hadn't bought it back. So I went ahead and bought one, brought it back in, and I'm building a room to put my freezers in. And I'm gonna have it to where it runs off the regular power, just like everything else does. But if the power goes out, I have a generator on standby. I can, hit that key, fire it up, then move them. I'm gonna do 2 separate plugs. I'll show you as I do it. But I'm just talking right now about what I'm thinking I'm doing. I'm putting a plug here that'll have generator rolled on it, and this one put for lights. And that way, when the power's on, you plug it in here, and then you pull it out and plug it into a complete different system. That way, there's no way it can feed back through, any of the power grid and hurt anybody. But I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I kind of seen a few, little boo-boos that I've made, and I've decided that until my dairy gets done, I'm going to take all my canned food and I'm going to put it back here in the back room. I'm going to box my porch in, and then I'm going to extend my porch all the way to the end of the house. And I'm going to get my greenhouse up before long. I'll bring y'all along with that. But, give a lot of thought to your preps and make sure you got clothes and stuff for everybody in your family. And if you got a baby, you may want to, put some diapers and stuff up in another location from where you're at. And, if it's, you can't do it in a storage building for right now, that'd be better because maybe, if it destroyed everything at your house, it wouldn't get all your preps, it'd be in another location. I've got neighbors that told me I can, start putting some preps out around their house and stuff that's, a couple miles from me, or maybe if it did get me, I still have that stuff out there. Like on your guns and stuff, just I'm making a way to where if it looks like there's becoming something that I have to worry about, that I can put my guns in the toolboxes on my truck or in the camper it's on my truck, and I can, throw my preps and stuff as much as possible in there and get going. I'm gonna make some totes up. It does have extra clothes in the house that I don't wear because I can get these little jogging breeches for about $8 or $10 a pair at Walmart. I'll buy me 5 or 6 pair of them. I'm gonna do me some of these shirts if I can get them at yard sales and stuff. But I'm gonna have it a tote with nothing but clothes in it, and I'm gonna make sure it's a good tote that seals. And that way, if I have to throw a bunch of stuff in my truck and take off, I can. But I'm not doing like a bug out type deal unless it is a natural disaster. But people, let this open your eyes up. There's people still don't have power. I know people that lost freezers full of food, freezers full of meats and stuff. And, that's a heck of a setback right here at winter. And I just thank God that, my stuff didn't stay off that long and, it come right back on and I didn't get caught, as I said, my britches down and was able to get if I didn't have the generator coming, it was just getting in here the next day, it would have been here. But I'm going to start putting up, I've got these gas cans and I'm going to put them, in up where, nothing get to them. And I also bought a blue barrel out here that's, I think, I want to say it's about 25 or 30 gallon. I'm going to have it set up on the side of the building in a rack. to where, it's always there, and the generator will be set up on the side of the building where, nothing should be able to bother it. But I'm starting to look real serious at my preps, and where I had errors and where I didn't have errors. There was a lot of stuff I did right, but there was a few things, the old mountain man done wrong, and it's time to make corrections. And if you seen, like, there was an issue, do make corrections. My buddy bought a generator out here that runs off propane. Man, that's nice. And see, with gas, you have to use it every year. Like every summer, I'll have to use the gas that's in this tank to mow and weed eat and all that. So, and when the wintertime comes or anything happens, I'll have fresh gas in that. But, if I could get a propane deal like he's got, propane don't go bad. You can set that there 10 years from now, turn it on, and you got propane. So I am going to look for a full whole house propane generator, and something that I can hook to, like, let's say a couple of them 100-pound tanks. But I'm just going to do it as I can slowly. I'm doing it one project at a time. I've got the the salting house, or the curing house, we'll call it. The freezer room, that's going up too, and I'll have them done. We're getting a 10 Friday, so I'm gonna say the first of next week they'll at least be under roof, and I'm gonna try to get the freezers moved. If I can get my brother-in-law's them come and help me a little bit, we can have them moved just in a few minutes with that tractor. But I've got 4 freezers. As I move them, I'm gonna go through them and look and see if there's freezer burnt meats or whatever in there, or something that's I can give to the hogs, and cut back on the freezers. I'm gonna try to get down. I'm gonna keep my little seed freezer, and I'm gonna try to get down to 2 freezers, and then eventually get down to no freezers. But I got to get this dairy done. I'd like to have at least 12 by 12, and that way I can just can everything, and it goes in there, and I know it don't matter. Power's off, whatever, everything's safe. I just go in there and eat. Fresh water. There's a lot of people suffering from fresh water. I went and picked up. Let me see if I can see it. Oh. I went and picked up some of these Sawyer minis to go with the ones I've got in my stuff already. But these will be put in a bucket and put in the ground. I've got some of the other ones in the ground too. But, it's a way to have fresh water. And, they wasn't that high, I don't think. I don't think I paid that much for them. But it does give you a way to drink, have fresh water when, it's a disaster or something. Remembering you're prepping, you're not prepping always for the end of the world or doomsday or missile attacks or, whatever, pole shifts and all that. As I said, don't prep for anything. Try to prep for everything, no matter what the situation is. Cover your basics: food, water, shelter, fire, and then protection. Okay, you can also add clothing to that if you want to. If you get those 6 things, you're in pretty good shape. Just, look at where your preps are. And I know everybody's afraid to put their preps out, afraid somebody will find them. Go out there with a shovel, make you up a couple of them stash buckets, put them out there, in case something does happen. Where, like, there's a lot of people, man, their house is full of mud now, and all their prep stuff is gone, and, that to me would be the scariest thing that could happen. I didn't know I was a prepper because, okay, I can and stuff because winter's coming. I'm preparing for winter. And you take this hurricane come through, we don't lose power during the summer, hardly ever. Hurricane come through, we lost power. I wasn't ready. So now I'll be ready. I'm gonna prepare everything to where anytime anything goes wrong, Mountain Man's got a handle on it. But I do a water catchment system. Put you a barrel on your guttering system, and that way, that's 55 gallon of water. That lasts quite a bit. You can take one of these straws right here and pull it out of the pot. You could use one of these, or you could boil it. I would strain it through a. I've got a little filter system out here, and it's got rocks, gravels, sand. I put straw in it, and then it's got charcoal on the bottom and the top, so it's double charcoal filtered through, and it's got a little spigot on it turned on, and it runs through that and comes out the other side. And you'll be surprised, it can be pretty muddy water, and it comes out almost clean. Well, I'll take that, and then I will boil it. But have two or three redundancy, people. Have two or three ways that you can eat. Have two or three ways that you can shelter. And okay, these buildings, if I had to, I know that these buildings are constructed good enough. Let's say something happened to the house or something like that. I can go right out there and live in one of those buildings without a problem. I'm going to insulate the buildings real well. I'm going to insulate the front porch and everything. So when everything I put out there is good, in good shape. But I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over. But, I put toilet paper in buckets. I put, a little bit of everything in buckets. And then I try to go and hide them. You don't have to dig them 10 foot deep. If you can get them, 2 foot of dirt over them, and I'll try to find a big rock and set it down on the bucket, then I cover it all up. And that way, if it did happen to get wet, let's say the ground gets loose, the rock will hold the bucket down. And I have deodorant. It's like soaps and stuff like that. But see, I've been doing it a long time. But just anything you have extra that you think, well, I can spare that. Go out in the woods. Don't have to tell everybody where you're going. Just go. Just take you a bucket and a shovel. Just take you a little leisure walk. Go out there and you come back home if you want to. Make you a little map of where everything is. And that way, do identifying marks that was around that bucket so you know where it is. But that way, if something does happen, like it's happened down in Nashville and stuff, you'll be prepared. I keep all my shells in ammo cans because they sealed, and I know they'll be sealed tight. My gun safe seals tight, and that way I know my guns and stuff like that safe. I'm trying to get all my buildings where I know they're really secure, and that maybe if something happened like that, but you take a landslide or a mudslide or something like that, everything in this path is gonna get gone. But for me to get flooded, it would take there's a Clinch River down here, and it'd take a lot of water to get over here to me. But I've had this on my heart, and I was thinking, some of those people had hid stuff out, and maybe hadn't had in their house. I got a buddy that lives down there. He just put up a new house, had lived in it 3 days, and lost it. It's gone. There ain't nothing sitting there but the footers, and I feel so sorry for that man. I hope that they had enough insurance that they can get started back over. And that's another thing, people. I know insurance is costly, and I know it's aggravating. But have fire insurance, have flood insurance, stuff like that, and that way, if something does happen, you're covered. I don't have a lot on my house because it's not worth a lot. They don't cover it for a lot. But I did do like a renter's insurance to cover the stuff in my house. I pay it every month, and that way, if something does happen, maybe I'd be covered. Okay, that's it for right now. Y'all have a good day. Have a blessed day. Be good to each other. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments, okay? All right. Bye.